Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessie Nealon, and today we're going to be starting the most common characteristic series for the body image avatar that is called the Self Objectifier. So if you've seen my other part of this series already, you already know I've gone through the outsider, the high achiever, and the runner body image avatar, just sort of talking about the most common patterns and characteristics that I see among each avatar. So today we're going to be tackling the first of the self-objectifiers. And the first one is that they tend to be body checkers. They tend to do a lot of body checking. If you're not familiar with the term body checking, let me just give a quick definition here. Body checking is a behavior that tends to be really repetitive, if not compulsive, in which a person will repeatedly check some bit of information or data externally about how they look or something about their body in order to reassure themselves that they're okay. So some examples of this would be like just looking in the mirror a lot, looking in the mirror and pinching or grabbing certain body parts, looking in the mirror and sort of running through your checklist of like, okay, this is this size, that's that shape, basically sort of just checking like, am I okay? Are things okay? Am I ugly? Am I pretty? Am I fat? Am I thin? Like it's a lot of like seeking clarity and reassurance that they look either how they want to look or that they don't look worse than they looked yesterday. A lot of times is kind of what it comes down to. It also includes things like weighing yourself. Lots of people weigh themselves on a somewhat regular basis, but someone who is a frequent body checker might weigh themselves multiple times a day. Same with measurements. Some people will measure occasionally. Someone who is a body checker will often measure different body parts or whatever, check body fat index, that kind of thing. If they're like going through a training program and they're like, I want to track this progress, they might be checking and checking and checking. Likewise, they might try on a pair of clothing, like a pair of jeans that are maybe like a little bit tight, just to see how they fit. Like, do they still fit? Even if they're not comfortable, even if they never want to wear it, they'll check. This is the checking of information. Does this outfit still fit? Do I still look such and such? So that is the type of behavior that a self-objectifier will often display a lot of. And it tends to feel to them like they can't stop. So if I were to say, hey, stop weighing yourself, or, this week your assignment is to just not get on the scale or not measure yourself or not try those pants on or not look in the mirror, they would not be able to follow through with that because the anxiety that builds up is what makes them lead to the body checking behaviors, right? Like they're really anxious and they do the body checking behavior as sort of an outlet to hopefully calm themselves down. A lot of times they'll say they're seeking reassurance, although it's not totally clear what they're seeking reassurance about. They're just looking for relief from anxiety. So if they're like, oh my God, I'm huge, I'm fat, I gained weight overnight, and then they step on the scale and they're more or less the same as they were yesterday, then they can say to themselves, okay, I'm okay. So that's the sort of reassurance that is often seen in these behaviors. There's a buildup of anxiety, they do the body checking behavior, and then there's a very temporary amount of relief from anxiety. Or occasionally it totally triggers them down. If they actually see something that they didn't want to see, it may take them down a whole spiral. But generally speaking, these behaviors are performed ritualistically over and over as a way of quelling or managing anxiety. And because of that, there is the feeling, they'll tell me, oh no, that's the only thing that makes me feel better. So they can't stop because they need to feel better, right? They don't have the tools to manage the anxiety on its own. But what they don't necessarily see, what they don't have the perspective to see, is if you zoom back, these behaviors lead to more anxiety in the long run. Like knowing what you weigh 10 times a day is not actually good for your body image, right? It might offer temporary relief, but it does not make you have a healthier relationship with your body. It in fact does the opposite. It reinforces the fact that your weight matters, that it's important, that this should play a big role in your life, right? Or that how you look is important. It reinforces the flaws that a person is insecure about. It does a lot of reinforcing of the stuff that creates body image issues in the first place. So for a self-objectifier in this situation, they might discover like, I don't know how I would stop, but also I need to stop in order to feel better, right? So it's this very odd sort of paradox situation. There's nothing wrong with like checking how you look, right? After you eat a salad or something, you might check the mirror to see if you have spinach in your teeth. Or if you got rained on your walk, you might check your hair as soon as you get somewhere and be like, let me just know what this situation is. That's not compulsive, right? That's not ritualistic. That's appropriate to the scenario at hand. something happened, you'd like to check and make sure that, reassurance, I don't have spinach in my teeth or whatever. So for the self-objectifier, though, we really are not talking about that. It is not appropriate to the scenario. It is not in proportion to what's going on. It is purely about this bouncing back and forth of the build of anxiety and the relief of anxiety as they move through their day, most often. So yeah, the thing that I would recommend, and something that I do a lot with my self-objectifiers, is to try, anyway, to identify the underlying need. Because if you're seeking reassurance, try to be really, really clear about what you're seeking reassurance of or for, rather than letting it be like, oh, I'm trying to seek reassurance that I haven't gained weight. Get even deeper. Because the underlying need is something very real in an emotional realm. Like maybe your underlying need is safety, and you're just checking your weight or your makeup or your hair all day because you want to make sure I'm safe. And somewhere in your mind as a self-objectifier, it's like, well, if I don't look perfect, I am worthless, I will be unsafe. People will hate me, or I'll be abandoned or rejected or whatever, right? If that's the case, then what you're really seeking is a feeling of safety in the world every time you do your body checking behavior. So then you get to ask, like, okay, is there another way I can feel safer in the world? Is there something that has to happen for me to really go down the path of feeling safer on a daily basis that doesn't have to do with checking my appearance? Because if so, that's a really fruitful direction for moving towards body neutrality. And if you can't figure out what it is, no pressure. It's complicated, right? This is all part of the body neutrality journey, is figuring that stuff out. But just to have it clear, most self-objectifiers are body checking. When they think about it, they say to themselves, this is about my weight, my size, my shape, my appearance, when actually it's about an underlying need, such as I want to feel like I belong. I want to feel like I am worthy of partnership or love or intimacy or sex or desire, whatever the thing is. That's what they're really seeking. So that ends up being sort of this really powerful tool to start exploring the underlying need of the body image behaviors for self-objectifier. Hopefully that was helpful. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next week.